Hi guys, and welcome to the App Backend Setup tutorial. In this video, I will be showing you how to set up the backend of any of the apps from the App collection. We will be following the documentation of the backend that is provided in the App package. Now, I have already shown how to set up the front end of one of the apps from App. So we were setting up the CNews app. Now the front end of CNews is already set up and has been shown in the previous video. Now we are going to do the back end of the CNews app. So if we scroll down a bit, we will notice that the first heading shows us the requirements that are required by the server in order to set up the backend. The second portion is what we need to concern ourselves with, which is setting up the backend. So the first step says unzip the package folder, then copy CNews folder and paste it in your root folder. By root folder, it means the htdocs folder of your server directory. Now you can be using XAMPP or MAMP, so you need to paste the folder mentioned here into the htdocs folder of the server that you're using. So I'm using MAMP, so let's go into the htdocs of MAMP. MAMP is in applications. Here we are, and htdocs folder. So this is the htdocs folder. This is the root folder that is mentioned here. Now we need to get the CNews folder. My package is kept in the desktop over here. Let's open up the package. Now we need to go into app file, then CNews app. You'll notice that there are two folders, front end and back end. We need the backend folder. So we'll copy the entire folder backend and paste it into the htdocs folder. There we go. Let's rename this to CNews since we're doing CNews app. Alright, so the first step is complete. Let's see what the second step says. Create a database from phpMyAdmin like CNews. Okay, so you need to run your XAMPP or MAMP, whichever one you have. Well, I have MAMP, so let's turn on MAMP. Start the server. And after that, we need to head into phpMyAdmin. Here we are. So it says create a new database. Let's go into databases and create CNews as it's mentioned in the second step, and create. And we have successfully created the CNews database. Once you have created the CNews database, you will notice after selecting this database that there is a tab over here called privileges. Let's head into that. Once we click on privileges, we will find all the users that are available that can access this database, provided you know its password. So let's go back into the .env file. We need to give one of the username over here and its password over here. Now, if you know the username and password, just paste it here, like over here the root is the username and the password of the root user is office. But in case you don't know what the password is, or you have forgotten what the password is, you can always create a user. So to create a user, click add user. This is the username. So let's give test user 2. On host, we need to click and select local, and we need to give a password over here. Let's give it test. Sorry. And retype the password here, test. We don't need to generate as we have typed the password. We need to select these two options and check all global privileges and finally click on Go on the bottom right corner, and you have added a new user. So now if you go back into the CNews database and click on privileges, you will see that there is a test user over here. So in case you have forgotten the passwords of all of the existing users, you can always create this user and paste the name in the .env file, test user 2, and the password being test, okay, and save it. Now let's head back into the documentation and check out the next step. So we finished the third step and all the sub steps of step 3. Next is import database. Now it says here that there are two ways the database can be imported. One is with the one-click importer and second is with phpMyAdmin. So we'll cover both of them turn by turn. So the first one is one-click importer. The sub-step in one-click importer says that after successfully modifying the .env file and adding your database name, database user, database password, and updating the app URL, open new app URL in your browser. So let's get back into the .env file, and here is the app URL. So we just copy the URL and open it in the browser. Once we do that, we receive this page which says installer. So this will help you get started with the admin panel setup with Laravel 5.1. Make sure you have the latest version of PHP and MySQL installed. Okay, so let's click on the next button. Oh, just before we proceed, let's check out the documentation. Okay, so the documentation, we finish this step. And the second step says you may need to change the permission. After visiting this URL, you will be shown a list of directories which require permission to be changed. You will need to set 755 permission for the listed directories. Okay, let's check out. Okay, so once we scroll down, this is the permission that the documentation is talking about. And it says here that there are 4 list items and they are all given the 775 number, which means that it needs the permission. So in this case, what we do is we need to open up the folder that we had, that we copied, the CNews folder, which is in htdocs. Okay, let's make it list view, and we need to find these locations that are mentioned here. So the first is storage app. Now inside the CNews folder, we need to find storage. Here we are. If we open storage, we have 4 folders: app, debug bar, framework, and logs. Okay, so here you can see that we need storage app, storage framework, storage logs. So we go to storage app. We right click this and go into this get info. And over here it is, you can see here the privilege is read only. We need to make this read and write. So we make this read and write, read and write. Also unlock the lock over here. It's asking for the administrator password. So we give the password. This password is of the user of my MacBook that I'm using. This is not the password of the test user that we made. Okay, so you may not have this or you may have this. This is your administrator password. So after entering the administrator password, we click OK. And then we click on this cog icon at the bottom and click on apply to enclosed items. Okay, it's asking, are you sure you want to apply the selected owner group and permission? Okay. Close. Similarly, we do the same thing with all the other locations that I mentioned over here. Let's do them real quick. Debug bar is not there, framework is there. So right click, get info, read and write, read and write, open the log, enter administrative password, cog, apply to enclosed items, OK, close. Logs, right click, get info, read and write, open log, password, apply, OK, close. Okay, and the last one is bootstrap cache. Okay, we need to find bootstrap. Here it is, bootstrap cache. Right click and get info, give the read and write privileges, type in the administrator password, apply to enclosed items, OK, close. Alright, so we have completed all this. So after changing all the permissions, let us refresh this page. You will notice that these permissions are granted. That is why they are now green. Now let's get back into the documentation and check for the next step. The next step says that after changing the permissions, you will see a notification message and submit button. Click on the submit button to import the demo data. So, alright, so this is the message. Clicking next will migrate and set up your database. Okay, please ensure you have the correct database credentials in your env file. So we do have. Let's click on next, and it gives a success message that successfully seeded database. So the database has been successfully migrated. Now the next step says there will be a link to redirect to the login page. Click on that. Alright, log into admin panel. Now it's asking for email and password. So the next step over here, the next step is the second with phpMyAdmin, but if you scroll down below, this is the login info after database is restored. So your email is this, copy, paste it here, and password is password. Copy that, paste it here. Let's have a look. Login. And here we are. This is the admin panel of the CNews backend. And these are the options that you can change, news and categories. You can check it out. So this is how you set up the backend, and this is one of the ways to set up your backend. Now we will check out the next way we can import the database.